Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. The focus of this webinar will be to introduce you to essential assistive and educational technology tools that students with learning disabilities use to facilitate and support communication in the classroom. My name is Emily Tack, and I'm the Assistive Technology Advisor at Trillium Demonstration School. I am an Ontario certified teacher and have experience working in both Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board and Halton Catholic District School Board. My current role is to set up assistive technology for students so that they can customize their devices in personalized ways. I am teaching students about what assistive technology they can use based on their individual learning needs. I have previous experiences demonstrating assistive technology to students with learning disabilities in particular. My background in special education, teaching ELL, and assessment and evaluation studies have prepared me to create unique learning opportunities for students using technology.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Wendy Farkas. This is me on the right of the screen. I'm a resource services consultant at Trillium Demonstration School, and I'm also an Ontario certified teacher, seconded to the Provincial Schools Branch from the Waterloo Region District School Board. My role here is to help educators and school boards across Ontario who are seeking support for their students with severe learning disabilities and ADHD. I am a huge fan of project-based and hands-on learning and educational technology in the classroom, so I'm so excited to join you today. I have worked with exceptional and struggling students throughout the entire duration of my career. Next, Emily's going to take us to our agenda for the day. Let's quickly go over some of our Zoom features. You can see us, but we can't see you. So please use the chat room below for any questions that you may have. We will be monitoring the chat room and we'll pause later on to answer your questions. This slide deck, a recording of this webinar, and all resources will be emailed to you later this week. Please feel free to share these resources amongst your colleagues. Today we will begin by exploring the evolution of technology and how modern assistive technology can level the playing field for students with learning disabilities. We will also discuss some of the built-in features of common devices and preview popular learning platforms in education right now. Over to you, Emily.
Thank you so much, Wendy. First, we will start off by discussing the evolution of assistive technology. Over time, technology has advanced in numerous ways that allow us all to stay digitally connected. Assistive technology, in particular, has also advanced tremendously by approaching learning in personalized ways. Users can customize their assistive technology and find new and appropriate technologies that best support their individual learning. Technology has changed immensely over the years. In today's society, everything is so interconnected, and we are able to find out pieces of information, communicate globally, and share our findings with the click of a button. This has especially impacted the way educators and students teach and learn. With the growth of technology, we are able to demonstrate our learning and assess our skills with its assistance. We are all adding to our digital citizenship as new technology emerges constantly. Assistive technology has also changed over the years. In particular, voice recognition software has improved, equipment is becoming more portable and lightweight, smaller and compact, and while it works in many environments, there are some areas where there are barriers. But even that is evolving as more websites adapt their design to be accessible. One of the major developments in assistive technology is how every user can customize their devices to their own liking. Setting up your personal preferences on your device can allow learning to be done a lot more effectively. Adjusting the way words appear on your screen or how audio sounds when you're listening to text-to-speech can help each learner absorb information easily. We will continue to discuss the importance of making assistive technology accessible and equitable in personalized ways. One important note to remember is that even though technology has advanced so much, not all AT tools have to be high-tech. Some popular effective technologies, including audio recording devices, timers, guided reading strips, FM systems, calculators, and graphic organizers, like you see here on the screen. These are traditional technologies that are not necessarily considered high-tech devices, but they offer amazing support and are just as effective.
Thank you, Emily. That was great. So we wanted to take a moment to talk about the difference between assistive technology and educational technology, as these are very popular terms right now, given our current climate. Assistive technology, as Emily mentioned, is any device or equipment that helps people work around their challenges. So as previously mentioned, assistive technology can be a simple physical system like color coding, using an agenda, a timer, or even a reading guide. I'm going to show you a reading guide later on in this presentation. Assistive technology can also refer to software and devices such as FM systems, which amplify sound and reduce background noise, or speech-to-text and text-to-speech systems and headsets. Educational technology, on the other hand, supports the learning environment and informs the instructional environment and improves our teaching and learning. We must define the goals and needs of education first, and then we use all of our knowledge, including technology, to design the most effective learning environment for students. Through the use of both assistive technology and educational technology, we can create a very inclusive classroom, but neither of these will negate good pedagogical practice and teaching. We can go to the next slide, Emily. That's great, thank you so much. Sorry, just a moment. I'm having just a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank you. So we wanted to talk a little bit about differentiated instruction and universal design for learning, as these are identified in the Learning for All document as effective instructional strategies. As pictured in this image, what is equal may not be equitable. In the first frame, we have equality. Everyone gets the same thing. This works for some, but not for others. In the second frame, the support has been differentiated. Each person gets what they need. In the third frame, we take it a step further and remove the barrier from the start. This represents universal design for learning. Becoming knowledgeable about assistive technology and open to using educational technology in your classroom will help to create a fair and equitable environment for all of your students. Thanks, Emily. If a student has a slight vision impairment, they might use eyeglasses to see the chalkboard clearly, and we would likely set them a little closer to us or the chalkboard during instructional time. The glasses are simply a tool that the student uses to participate fully in class. Students with learning disabilities need tools as well. We may not be able to see the disability, but it's still there. Students with learning disabilities are just as smart, and in some cases, smarter than their peers. It is possible to be gifted and also have a learning disability. However, these students may require extra processing time or have an executive function deficit that prevents them from organizing, staying on task, remembering multiple steps, and problem solving. In math class, for example, a student with a learning disability may require concrete examples or manipulatives in order to practice and develop a new skill. When teaching students about integers, it's common to put a number line up on the wall, right? Why not just take it a step further and put a piece of masking tape right across the student's desk? Have them personalize and create it themselves, essentially developing their own manipulative. Involving them in the creation and effective use of this tool provides a multi-sensory approach and rich learning opportunity. Similarly, in science class, when teaching students about the structure of an atom, have them create their own. Take a look at the atom on the bottom right of your screen. Can you guess which atom it is? If we have any science teachers out there, feel free to drop it in the chat. That's right, it's a carbon atom. Thank you, Emily. Next, we're going to talk about accessibility and explore equity a little bit further on the next slide. Students with learning disabilities often struggle with tasks that require reading and writing to demonstrate knowledge. They may be lacking basic phonemic awareness skills, letter, sound, and word recognition, or struggle with spelling and printing. A simple support could be to just read the worksheet to them so that they complete the activities orally, or offer to scribe for them. However, as teachers, we don't always have the time to sit one-on-one with individual students, especially for prolonged periods of time. Providing students with digital readable files makes the worksheet accessible, frees up the teacher's time, and gives students ownership and autonomy. When sharing digital worksheets, ensure that they are in an accessible format. Teach your students to use speech-to-text and text-to-speech platforms such as Google Read and Write or Immersive Reader. If scanning worksheets and sharing PDF files, ensure that students have access to and know how to use text annotation tools such as DocHub or Kami. These tools will convert a PDF or an image into an optical character recognition file. Note, standard PDF and images are a lot like pictures and they're not readable or writable. Take this worksheet on the right, for example. I scanned it and I uploaded it as a background to my Google Slides. Students can then use text boxes to type their answers on top. Now, that's a great trick for the average student, but Google Read and Write will not work on this file. It's not a readable file or a writable file. In fact, Google Read and Write won't read slides in Google Slides. However, it will read text in the speaker notes at the bottom of your slides. You could provide a script in the speaker notes and coach students with learning disabilities in your class to use the text-to-speech to listen to the script. Another thing teachers can do is to create audio files or screencasts to record instructions and lessons to minimize the amount of reading required for the student to understand and complete tasks. If you take a look at this slide, sort of towards the middle, you can see an image that looks like a speaker. Emily, you don't have to click on it now, but when we send the resources to you, you'll be able to click directly on this thumbnail and it will play the instructions to the slide. So what I've done is I've recorded myself going through the slides, and in Google Slides, I've inserted an audio file, and it not only inserts the file, but it also creates this handy thumbnail so you can train your students or get your students used to seeing that. Whenever they see that, they know that they can click on it to listen for instructions, especially for your low readers. Arrow is a web-based digital library of resources operated by the Ministry of Education. Arrow's mandate is to provide alternative format text to students with perceptual disabilities. That is, students with either low vision, or perhaps they have the inability to hold physical books and text in their hand or turn pages, or any other impairment that prevents a student from accessing print materials. So for example, a student with a vision impairment can have their text converted to Braille through contacting Arrow. And a student with a learning disability can have their text converted to an audio file. To sign up for an Arrow account, you would go to their website. So we're not going to go there now, but Emily, if you could just hover over the hyperlink to Arrow on the bottom left of the slide. Clicking on that hyperlink will take you directly to Arrow's website, where you can sign up for a free account. But before you do that, also check in with your ISSP, CERT, or special education department head, as they actually may already have an account or a bank of accessible text for you. Over to you, Emily.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Wendy. So now we will be talking about built-in tech that is common on many different devices. So while it is common to use downloaded programs on our devices, most of them already have built-in assistive technologies for users. These allow every individual to tailor their settings to enhance their own learning. Now I'll be going over the built-in assistive technologies for both Apple products, including MacBooks, iPads, and iPhones, as well as PC devices like Chromebooks, laptops, and desktops. MacBooks, iPads, and iPhones are designed for every user to personalize their device. Apple products pay close attention to detail in order to allow users to customize their settings to align with their personal preferences. Apple offers accessibility features that help with vision, hearing, mobility, and learning. Adjusting how you are viewing a slideshow or listening to a video, or even shortcuts that help you access functions quickly, can impact your learning experience. These built-in assistive technologies help with focusing on the task at hand and easy navigation, which can make all the difference for learners with disabilities. Featuring a voiceover, which enables a voice to explain everything happening on your screen, or activating Siri, who can help you find an article on the web, are different ways learners are able to access information easily. Again, these can all be customized in your settings to ensure every user is comfortable with their device. Along with these built-in technologies, Apple products come with pre-installed programs like iMovie and GarageBand that allow students to demonstrate their learning in unique ways. These are great to keep in mind when encouraging students to think outside the box. And on the screen here, you can see a few extra built-in assistive technologies that Apple products offer.
Emily, I just wanted to let you know you're getting a lot of mic feedback. Sorry to interrupt you. Just pull your mic away a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Wendy.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. So moving on to PC. So you can set up PC devices to your own liking as well. This list of built-in assistive technologies displays how many options there are for customizing your device. Whether it's a Chromebook, an HP laptop, or a desktop, this list of features encompasses accessible functions for everyone to utilize. For example, PC devices allow you to create your own shortcuts so that you can complete different functions easily, similar to Apple. Or you can alter the size of your mouse and cursor to locate things faster. It can be difficult and tiresome to look at a screen for hours and hours. These simple adjustments give every user the opportunity to view their screen in comfortable ways that prevent straining on the eyes, which can ultimately help with productivity and focus. One aspect that Microsoft focuses on improving when using technology is mental health. Minimizing distractions to improve focus and maintain organization and time management are a few ways that Office aims to promote the well-being of its users. And again, on the screen here, you can see different accessibility features that are easily adjustable in the settings on your own devices. So, now moving on to you, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Emily. A virtual learning environment is a web-based platform used to support and facilitate learning. Whether you're using Google Classroom, Brightspace, ClassDojo, Schoolology, or Nearpod, ensure that you're following your school board protocols and become familiar with board-approved digital tools. Check with your system administrator and your AT consultant for a list of approved technology. Virtual learning environments can be used to facilitate classes, whether in a brick and mortar style classroom, remote learning, or hybrid learning models. In fact, we encourage you all to try creating an online platform to support daily instruction. Embracing these tools facilitates differentiated instruction, but embodies the principles of universal design for learning. A mentor once told me, differentiated instruction is like taking your students to an a la carte style restaurant and allowing each student to order off of the menu. Each student then gets a unique item based on their needs and wants. With universal design for learning and virtual learning environments, this is like taking your students to a buffet. Everything that everyone wants and needs is already there. Students help themselves when and if they need it. Front-loading learning materials on virtual learning environments may seem like a lot of work at first, but once you have a solid foundation, you will find your time is free during class to support and check in on students if and when they need it. Thank you, Emily. Many school boards have chosen to use G Suite for Education. So you may already be familiar with the core tools that you see on the left, such as Google Drive, Google Classroom, Docs, and Sheets. But I also wanted to highlight a few key features and apps under the G Suite umbrella that your students with learning disabilities will find helpful. Google Read and Write is a multi-purpose speech-to-text, text-to-speech platform. This Chrome extension supports students who have reading and writing challenges. As we mentioned earlier, students with learning differences require assistive technology tools to participate and level the playing field in class. Assistive technology also should be customized to individual student needs, and we're going to quickly demonstrate that now. Emily, if you could enable Google Read and Write for me.
Yep, it's already enabled right here at the top. It automatically
Perfect.
appears.
Thank you so much. So aside from the basic functionality of reading text to a student, where Emily, if you just want to hover over the play button, you can have text read to you. You can pause, you can stop. You can use the text to speak, speech to text function as well. Thank you, Emily. But what I wanted to highlight was when you're looking to customize to your individual students' needs, there are some unique tools as part of Google Read and Write. And just because a student has a learning disability doesn't mean that they're going to need all of them. So Emily, if you could click on the screen reader for me first. Yep, there you go. There we go. So the screen reader is a guided reading tool that allows a student to read text that's online, and it just isolates specific areas for that student. Very similar to the old guided reading strips that you may have used in some of your primary and younger classes for struggling readers. Same functionality is available on Google Read and Write. Okay, next we're going to look at the word predictor, so you can exit that tool. Thanks, Emily. So word predictor is a great tool for a student who has specific writing challenges. So maybe not just reading challenges, but writing challenges. If they don't have a strong foundation in phonemic awareness, they don't understand what the sounds are, they won't be able to spell. So by enabling the word predictor, as students start to type, a word bank appears, and a list of possible words will pop up and prompt them so they can select from that bank to help them with their typing and their spelling. And the other tool that I wanted to talk about really quickly was just being able to adjust settings and customize. So Emily, if you could just show them where the settings can be found. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So as you can see here in the settings, you can change the voice type. You can change it from a male to a female voice. You can change the speed of the voice. You can change the language in the settings as well if you need to. And you may find that your students with learning disabilities may have sensory issues as well. So certain voices and sounds may actually irritate them. So make sure that you show them this tool so that they can customize Google Read and Write for their own needs. Thank you for that, Emily.
No problem.
Okay, now returning back to our main slide, you can put it back into presentation mode. A couple of other great tools that are part of G Suite. So Jamboard. Jamboard is an interactive whiteboard that facilitates real-time collaboration. Participants can work remotely from various locations on their Jamboards. It's a really great tool for encouraging student collaboration, design thinking, and brainstorming, but it's also a great platform to create interactive teaching materials. So Emily, you don't have to click on this now because we might run over time a bit, but I have linked sample Jamboards to this presentation. So when our audience receives it later on this week, all they have to do is click on that Jamboard thumbnail. If you want to just hover over it, Em, to show them, all they have to do is click on that Jamboard thumbnail, and it will take them to some shared Jamboards that they can preview. The next tool I want to highlight is Google Slides. Google Slides are not just for presentations anymore. Try creating a digital notebook on Slides Mania and teach your students how to color code, bullet journal, and manage their time. This very template that we're actually using in this slideshow is from Slides Mania. And again, you don't need to click on it, Em, but when our audience gets this, if you click on that Google Slides thumbnail, it's going to take you right to Slides Mania, where you'll see a lot of really neat interactive Google Slideshow templates that have already been created for you. Mindomo allows you to visually outline complex concepts, tasks, ideas, and other related information in a structured form. So for example, teachers can model mind mapping for struggling learners as part of the writing process. When preparing to write, say, an opinion piece or an essay, you can teach your struggling learners to create a visual outline. Lastly, Google Keep and Google Tasks are great time management tools for students with learning differences or exceptional students in general. Google Keep is an app in G Suite. Students can create reminders and checklists within it, and also set alarms based on due dates and timelines. But another cool function is they can actually set an alarm based on a geographic location. So if there's something that they keep forgetting when they're at home, right? They can set an alarm specific to time, or they can set an alarm so that when they physically walk out the door, so they set a geographic location alarm, an alarm will chime and it will remind them, like, don't forget your book bag, or don't forget to lock the door, whatever it might be. Google Keep also has OCR capability, so students can take a picture of a sign on the street or a worksheet in class, and Google Keep will convert it to a readable file on their mobile device. Google Tasks is now available with virtually any Google app. It used to be you could only view Google Tasks when you were on Google Docs or you were in Gmail. But to use this, you would just enable the sidebar. So Emily, if you want to just exit out of presentation mode and then click on the sidebar, there it is. So I want you to just go up to that very last thumbnail, the blue circle that says tasks, and click on it for us. Oh, just enable it. That's great. So here you can see students can go ahead and they can create tasks. So Emily, if you want to just go in there and type in, homework time. Perfect. And then click on the little edit button to the right. Okay, so clicking there allows the student again to set reminders, but this is synchronous with Google Calendar. So as the student is creating tasks for themselves and setting due dates and reminders, it's going to also plug it into their Google Calendar, and the student can also add subtasks. So if you're dealing with a student that has a learning difficulty and you're giving them a big summative assignment, they're going to have a lot of trouble with breaking it down into small, manageable chunks. But by teaching them how to use Google Tasks, you can model how to do that. You can model how to break it down into big chunks and then teach them how to add subtasks to make that summative a lot more manageable and to make that summative more successful for them. And over to you, Emily, for Office 365.
Perfect, thank you, Wendy. I'm just going to go back in our presentation here and continue on to our next slide. Perfect. So Wendy gave a great description of G Suite for you all, and some schools are still using Office 365, some schools and school boards. So I just wanted to go over some of the great programs and apps that are available there as well. So just as G Suite offers a variety of programs for teachers and students to navigate online learning, so does Office 365. Once you sign into your Microsoft account, you will have access to a variety of programs for the classroom. So for those of you using Office 365, these apps are pretty common and will appear for you all to use. Whether they are being used for instructional time or for students who are brainstorming for a project, these apps and programs are designed to let users complete their work, again, using a personalized approach. So each program offers a unique function. So do you need to do some brainstorming or drawing? You can try out Whiteboard. Or are you trying to plan out your day and figure out what you want to accomplish? To do is something that you might want to check out. These programs will help students develop their learning skills so that when it comes time for them to actually dive in and get to work, they have the necessary tools and feel confident. The Office 365 website gives a closer look to each of the available apps and how to adjust accessibility using built-in assistive technologies as well. So one program in particular that I wanted to show is OneNote. So OneNote is like a digital binder for students where they can create notebooks with separate tabs for various different notes. And I'll show you now what the layout of OneNote looks like. So I've created a hyperlink here, so that will just take us to OneNote. Perfect. And if you haven't used it before, it will just take you to a little setup page. For now, I will skip so we can just get into our notebook. So I created just an assistive technology page over here. So this is our assistive technology section. And then as you can see here, it goes into lesson 1. So at the bottom of my screen, I'm just hovering over the add section and add page options. So this is kind of what I mean by the digital binder. You're able to add different sections. So this can be different subjects that students are in. So math, science, English, so on. And then different pages. So whether it's the different lessons or a quiz that they're working on or just a fun facts page, it really allows the user to create this binder digitally, which it might be easier for students to stay organized. And up here, I just want to note a couple of really cool functions. So tags is something that is really popular to use. So it brings you to a wide list here of different things that you might want to use. So if it's a to-do list that you are creating, or if you just are making notes and have a question about something, you're able to add that tag. Or if something you want to highlight, you're able to highlight those if you're studying for a test. So some really neat features that are really useful for students with learning disabilities to stay organized, manage their time if it's, again, a to-do list. So things like that are definitely important to keep in mind. It also has a speech to text function here with the microphone, so you can dictate. And then another thing I wanted to quickly note is if you click insert, you're able to insert a lot of different things. So again, you can create an audio recording. Sometimes something comes to mind, you just want to add that in, you can record it and then later play it and listen to your own recording. You can add other files if you're trying to create a list of resources and other things that you want to keep organized in your digital binder. You can add pictures and links to the web as well for further information on different subject areas. So again, just a really neat tool and really great way to stay organized. It's a personal favorite, and I've seen it really make a difference for a lot of students. So I'm just going to go back here and to our presentation. Perfect. And now I'm going to be moving on to digital resources. So to continue on the topic of accessible online resources, these 3 websites provide information on e-learning by supporting teachers and students. Educators are able to view numerous tools and resources to use in the classroom for a variety of subjects, grades, interests, and learning levels. The Ontario Educational Resource Bank, provided by the Ministry of Education, offers curriculum-based resources such as unit and lesson plans, interactive tools, and other activities to use in the classroom for all school boards. Using a login provided by your school board, you will be able to access a wide range of tools that can be easily adapted and modified to meet your students' needs. OSAPAC works to provide and educate professionals about provincially licensed software that can be used in the classroom. They provide professional development opportunities so that educators are fully equipped to use these tools in the classroom. Educators can determine what software is best suited for their classrooms by browsing through the extensive database. And they also offer a great variety of popular and up-and-coming programs. Really cool to check out. Tello, through EduGains, provides information on the online learning environment, what it is, and how to use it. Tello explains the e-learning and blended learning environments, which are especially relevant in our society today where remote learning is more common. Whether students are in class on site or at home, they all have the ability to access these resources and be connected digitally. Teachers can easily adapt these files as well to ensure they are accessible for all types of learners using the assistive technology we've discussed today. So in the slide here, you can see that for the word Tello, there is a hyperlink. So just for you guys to note that that is available for you to check out the Tello website. Again, all of these different websites have great resources for online learning, different activities that can be done. So it's a really cool collection of different things for every type of learner. And again, combined with assistive technology, it really makes learning a lot more engaging, fun, and interactive. Handing it over to you, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Emily. There are many free web-based platforms that you can use with your students in your virtual learning environment. It may be a Chrome extension, it may be an app, it may be freeware. We just wanted to quickly highlight a few, being mindful of the time, but also just remind you, if you have any questions, please do drop them in the chat and we'll pause shortly to answer those. So Canva is a web-based tool where students can create infographics and posters to demonstrate content knowledge. Vocaroo is a great web-based audio recorder. Teachers can create audio recordings to insert into lessons for struggling readers or ask students to create audio recordings for verbal assessment. And Focus Me is my absolute favorite. Focus Me is a Pomodoro-style time management tool that teaches students to set goals and stay focused during work periods. It comes with a web blocker. So for those students who are easily distracted and commonly get off task, this also requires the students to self-regulate and reflect on how they manage their time. We don't have time to demonstrate Focus Me for you, but later on this week, when we send you this recording and all of the resources, we will attach a quick how-to video on how to install and use the Focus Me Chrome extension. I would highly recommend that you give it a try with your students. And to be honest, I even use it myself to stay on task from time to time. Over to the next slide. So along the vein of continuing to develop professional resources, we wanted to provide you with a list of where a lot of our materials have come from today, but to draw your attention specifically to the very first hyperlink that you see, callscotland.org. We're running short on time, so we're not going to explore this website today as we had planned, but please do make a note for yourself to refer back to this web link the minute that you can, or even write it down so that you can explore it later on today. There are some amazing resources and printables that you will find on this website for students of varying needs. So if you're looking specifically for Chrome extensions or Chromebook apps that you can use for students, and they've broken it down into, say, organizational skills, or maybe it's a text-to-speech tool that you're looking for, or maybe it's an organizational tool that you're looking for. And they have lots of printables, whether it's for Android products, whether it's specifically for Chromebooks, or whether it's specifically for Apple products. So please do make sure that you check that website out. Over to you, Emily.
Perfect. Thank you, Wendy. And before we move on to the next slide, just to touch on the other resources on our page here. So just another collection of websites that touch on assistive technology, what it is, how to use it in the classroom in engaging and creative ways. So also worth taking a look at and taking a read to further our understanding of assistive technology. So as we are nearing the end of our presentation, I just wanted to draw attention to the exit ticket that we have created here. So as you can see at the bottom here, there is a link to a Google Forms. So it's just our exit ticket for our presentation. So it'll just draw attention to your main takeaway from today's presentation, and just another question we have, which is, what is an area surrounding assistive technology that you would like to learn more about? So just something we are curious to know, and something that we want to take into consideration for our second webinar, which will also be on assistive technology, which is happening in November.
Emily, just to let our participants know, I dropped the link to your Google form in the chat room too. So if you don't have time later on, feel free to click on that link right now and fill that form out for us. As Emily said, it's going to help to inform us as to what you would like to learn more about. Many of you have signed up for the Part 2 Assistive Technology webinar, which will be happening in November. So feel free to do that. And do we have any questions? If we have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat room. I am seeing one question about a webinar from last week. Yes, I did conduct a webinar last week on assessment and evaluation. Unfortunately, my Zoom recording glitched out on me, so I am going to re-record that for you, and I promise that I will send it to you this week, including all of the resources that I promised. Are there any other questions with regards to assistive technology or the use of educational technology in the classroom, or maybe any of the specific tools that we referenced today? Please do drop them in the chat room. I don't see any tools. That's okay. Thank you, Emily, for putting our contact information up on screen. You have both of our business cards there in front of you. You have our direct extensions and our email addresses. So if you do think of something later on and you want to ask, always feel free to reach out. We are happy to help via email or phone. Also, please do sign up for Part 2 of our Assistive Technology webinar called Assistive Technology Continued on November the 19th, same time, and you would register same way that you did last time through our website, and the link is also there for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. We know how busy it is out there right now and that you don't have a lot of time. So we do appreciate that you took the time to participate with us today. Again, please reach out anytime. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.